The Student Association passed a bill yesterday taking a stance against a controversial donation.
Several services were held on campus this week to commemorate Holy Week. Find out how many students attended.
Good weather continues throughout the rest of the week. I'll tell you in my full forecast. Citrus TV News starts right now.
5 at 6, your campus news leader.
Pennsylvania State Police are saying the Facebook murderer is dead. Hi, everybody. I'm Nick Papantonis.
And I'm Jackie Prager. Authorities received a tip saying Steve Stevens was in Erie County, Pennsylvania.
Police say after a short chase, Stevens shot himself. He was charged with aggravated murder after he killed a 74-year-old man in Cleveland on Sunday.
The crime gained notoriety after he posted a video on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg responded to the incident today, saying the company will look into ways to prevent this event from happening again.
Our hearts go out to the family and friends of Robert Godwin Sr. And we have a lot of work, and we will keep doing all we can to prevent tragedies like this from happening.
A new bill was passed and 2 others were discussed at last night's SA meeting. The bill passed requires registered student organizations to provide contact information on event flyers for students needing disability-related support. In addition, Assembly members voted to take a stance against a $1.75 million donation to the Whitman School from the Koch Foundation. The controversial donation would go towards the establishment of the Institute for an Entrepreneurial Society.
They make it part of their political agenda so that what they do is they influence the minds that go into their institutions, and then those people create research that's sort of biased because it's promotes deregulation, free market capitalism, which in turn influences conservative candidates.
Assembly members unanimously approved a written statement which on behalf of SA calls on the Chancellor to release the term of the contract for the grant.
And it was a pretty nice day out there, typical spring day, especially considering the rain we had a few days ago.
I was super excited to see these temperatures, and I really am hoping that they continue. So fortunately, we have Gilad Malaman in studio with us today. So Gilad, please give us some good news.
Yeah, there was definitely no rain today, guys. Beautiful spring day across the country. Look at this. Everybody is above the 50s. A lot of 70s and 80s, basically half of the country. Right now, 55 degrees, still beautiful and sunny out. We had a high today of 57 and a low of 44, so right around your April averages. Will these sunny skies continue, though, for the rest of the week? I'll tell you coming up in my exclusive Citrus TV 5-day forecast.
Governor Cuomo is awarding law enforcement more than $13 million in funding to reduce violent crime. The money will go towards helping the 17 counties in New York State taking part in the state's gun violence elimination initiative. The program provides training and equipment to help communities reduce violent crime. Onondaga is one of 12 counties receiving funding specifically for gun violence. A contributing correspondent for NBC News' Today Show will MC the Mirror Awards. Jenna Bush Hager will serve as Master of Ceremonies at the event, co-sponsored by the Newhouse School. The Mirror Awards will take place on June 13th in New York City. Hager is a 3-time New York Times best-selling author and a high-ranking member of UNICEF. She joined the Today Show in 2009. And Earth Fest will be held at the Thornton Park Amphitheater this Sunday. The festival is an Earth Day celebration that ties together Syracuse University, SUNY ESF, and the surrounding neighborhoods. The event will be headlined by a speech from writer and Onondaga Nation activist Gian Shenandoah, local artists and musicians who will also perform. The event is free and open to the public.
Students from all over the world attend Syracuse University, and the school welcomes the many faith traditions practiced throughout the campus. This week, several services were held in honor of Holy Week. Citrus TV reporter Claudia Bellafato spoke with SU's Father Jerry to find out just how many church seats were filled and what impact this week has had on the student body.
Then on Easter Sunday, we had record crowds.
Only in his 8th month working with the Syracuse community, Father Jerry already got to see the Catholic Center and Hendricks Chapel crowded with hundreds of students, faculty, and staff for Holy Week.
Here at the Catholic Center at 10:30 Mass, we used every chair we had, and so that's 250. So that was full. At Hendricks Chapel, it seats on the first floor of Hendricks Chapel. At 1 o'clock, our Mass there, we had 498. It fits 500.
With several services throughout the week, including baptisms, confirmations, and washing of feet, Father Jerry says the week was a success. As for his message, he had one goal.
My message was to the students. They need to be the people who infect the rest of the campus, because my message can't get to everyone unless they take it there.
Syracuse University recognizes the diverse faith traditions represented across the campus community, an aspect important to students.
Especially with events like Holy Week, it's really important to me and my family that I'm able to partake in that.
SU encourages this sharing of faith every week with faith-sharing groups, Bible studies, and even catered dinners following Mass, where people of all religion are invited. Although Holy Week is over, the doors of Hendricks Chapel and the Catholic Center are always open to students, faculty, and staff. You can check online at sucatholic.org for weekly events and masses. I'm Claudia Bellafato, CitrusTV News.
A special election in Georgia today, how Democrats are pushing to take a historically red district.
And a surprise announcement in England sends stocks plummeting worldwide. CitrusTV News will be right back.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
You're watching Citrus TV News with Jackie Prager, Nick Papantonis, and Gilad Molamed with weather. Citrus TV News continues now.
A man in Fresno, California shot and killed 3 people this morning.
According to Fresno police, Corey Ali Muhammad shot and killed these people at random. Police Chief Dyer says Muhammad expressed hatred towards white people and government before turning himself into police.
And Dyer also says it's too early to tell if the incident involves terrorism.
Voters in Georgia in the 6th Congressional District are going to the polls to choose a new representative in the House.
The seat needs to be refilled after Health Secretary Tom Price took the job as the President's Secretary of Health and Human Services.
If one of the 18 candidates does not reach 50% by the end of the night, the 2 with the most votes will have a runoff later in June.
But Democrat John Ossoff has been polling well in historically red district and has the potential to win the seat tonight.
Well, I appreciate the president's interest in the race, although he's misinformed with respect to my priorities. I'm focused on going to Washington to work across the aisle to get things done for this community. to cut wasteful spending, prioritize research and development and higher education and infrastructure renewal so we can grow Metro Atlanta's economy.
The U.S. Supreme Court is denying a request from the state of Arkansas to carry out the first execution in 12 years.
A state judge previously blocked the executions due to the legality of the lethal injection drugs.
This was the first of at least 6 executions planned in Arkansas over the next 2 weeks. Governor Asa Hutchinson has scheduled them before the state's lethal injection drugs expire.
And President Trump was in Wisconsin today to sign a new executive order. But the Buy American, Hire American order targets the H-1B visa program.
The White House says the program brings in large amounts of unskilled workers and drives down American wages. Agencies will suggest changes so that the visas will go to high-skilled applicants.
Trump says the orders show that the U.S. will defend its workers and protect its jobs. Moving overseas, British Prime Minister Theresa May has shocked the UK with her decision to call for an early general election.
May unexpectedly made the statement at Downing Street early this morning.
This is a major reversal on her part, as she repeatedly said she would not call an election before the next scheduled one in 2020.
The decision comes as May's Conservative Party is up nearly 20% in the polls.
I have just chaired a meeting of the Cabinet where we agreed that the government should call a general election to be held on the 8th of June.
And stocks in Europe and the U.S. are falling after the surprising call for an early election in the U.K.
The British stock market has plummeted to its lowest prices since Brexit passed in June of last year.
Goldman Sachs fell the lowest of all American stocks at 4%.
Not everything is looking down, though. The British pound is now at its highest value since February.
And ahead of French elections this year, Sunday, a former president has chosen a side.
Nicolas Sarkozy expressed his support for conservative candidate François Fillon.
Sarkozy praised Fillon's experience and called on voters to back Fillon, who defeated him in the conservative primary in November.
Fillon's campaign is under investigation for misusing taxpayer money.
The first round of voting begins this Sunday.
And a big day for Netflix. The streaming giant hit a record number of users today, and they're not stopping there.
And later in sports, Chris Lucy joins us with a preview of tonight's women's lacrosse game.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey, look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck.
So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Low local temperatures right now. Mostly 50s in the area. Elmira, the only place still at 60. And most of all, even though we had nice temperatures today, the skies were even nicer. Look at this, local conditions, all sunny skies across basically the entire state. Can't find a cloud in the sky. Tomorrow, though, it won't be the same. It's going to be a little cooler, 48 degrees when you're waking up at 8 a.m. It's going to feel more like 41 because we're going to have those strong winds and not a lot of sun. That sun's going to go away right after 8 a.m. And this is going to be the big difference maker. Today's winds, low single-digit winds, 5 miles per hour basically across the entire state. And as we look at tomorrow's forecast, winds double digits, even nearing 20 miles per hour right around our area. And looking at tomorrow night, there's going to be some scattered showers. You have that low pressure system moving in from the northwest, and that's going to carry in to Thursday. Looking tomorrow, high 56, low 49. Thursday, we're going to have the afternoon thunderstorms, but a high of 64. Friday and Saturday, we'll have clouds, and then Sunday, the rain is going to come back with a high of 56.
So, Yulat, these 50s and 60s are nice, but are we going to see those 70s come back?
You know, this weekend, we really had above average temperatures for this type of year. 70s, you're going to have 70, 71 at the end of next week, but you're going to have to wait a little for it.
And looking at that forecast, it's kind of hard to pick a really nice day this week. Which is the one that we should be looking forward to?
Today was the nicest day, so I don't want to burst your bubble, but Friday is going to be the only day where we're not going to have any rain for sure, so I would have to say Friday.
All right, great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The world's wealth is growing. According to a chief economist at the International Monetary Fund, we could be at a turning point. The year's outlook forecasts global growth at 3.5%, up from 3.1% last year. The report includes long-awaited signals that the world's economy is recovering from the financial crisis of 2008. Boeing plans to lay off hundreds of engineers in the coming days. The company cited slow sales and declining profits as reasons for the layoffs. The company has cut more than 7% of its workforce in the last year alone. Most of the cuts will come from the company's Washington state plant, which has let go nearly 1 in 10 workers in the past few months.
And the popular saying is Netflix and chill, but the company's subscription numbers are heating up. After bringing in about 5 million members in the first quarter of the year alone, Netflix is close to having 99 million users. To get over the bump and reach 100 million, the company is planning a big push to encourage what they call member acquisition. This marketing push is costing the company $1 billion. And Kevin Spacey has been chosen as the host of this year's Tony Awards. Producers fear that ratings will go down now that Hamilton is not performing. The House of Cards actor was chosen in the hopes that his famous name will keep ratings up. James Corden hosted last year and Alan Cumming hosted in 2015. The annual Theater Awards will be broadcasted on June 11th from Radio City Music Hall.
And coming up in sports, Syracuse women's lacrosse renews a Central New York rivalry tonight, and SU women's softball looks to keep on rolling after a huge weekend. What?
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
I already knew that I was gonna go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science, become the mayor or something, make the situation better for other people. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
In a season of highs and lows, Syracuse women's lacrosse is looking to finish its home schedule on the up and up. Good evening, I'm Chris Lucy. An upset loss to Princeton earlier this season was a bitter pill to swallow, but looks as though it was just the cure Syracuse needed. The Orange has rattled off 4 straight wins since and snuck back into the top 10 in advance of tonight's game against Cornell. Even though the rivalry between these two schools is one of the oldest in lacrosse history, SU might just have to look to its youngest players for the difference today. The Orange's underclassmen Asa Goldstock and Emily Harwachuk were respectively named ACC Defensive and Offensive Players of the Week after dazzling weekend performances against the University of North Carolina. And the Orange is racking up awards on the softball field too. Syracuse designated hitter Faith Kane is the ACC Player of the Week, and pitcher Alexa Romero is co-ACC Pitcher of the Week. Kane has been almost unstoppable at the plate recently. The junior went a perfect 5 for 5 over the weekend with 2 multi-homer games. Meanwhile, Romero has been holding it down on the mound, racking up 12 strikeouts in the opener of the Pittsburgh series and clinching her first career save in Game 2. The Orange went 5 for 5 on the field that weekend, sweeping both Pittsburgh and Canisius, and they're trying to keep the momentum going through an afternoon doubleheader against Niagara, but have come to mixed results, losing the first game of today's doubleheader 7-6. But the Orange has turned it around since. They're up 2-0 in the second inning of the second leg. And down in Ensley, Syracuse head football coach Dino Babers is trying to carry the intensity of spring practice into Saturday's spring showcase. The Orange has 1 full contact practice standing between it and its first appearance in the Carrier Dome since a 30-plus point home loss to Florida State in November. Despite high expectations for his second season, Babers feels confident in both himself and his team after a full year at the helm.
No, I think I have. I think just going through the league one time and being able to feel the opponents that we have to play every year, Clemson, Florida State, Pitt every year, Boston College, Wake Forest, North Carolina State, being able to see those guys that you play and now going back and preparing, you have a better idea of what you need to get done. And that excites me, The fear of the unknown is the fear of the unknown. We know now. There's no fear.
A highly touted recruit to the SU offensive line will give ACC foes something to be afraid of come 2018. 4-star center Tyrone Sampson committed to next year's recruiting class, and the 6'3", almost 330-pound lineman from Detroit is the 3rd member of Syracuse's class of 2018, the first to come from outside of New York State. And onto International League Baseball, the Chiefs come home after a week-long road stand in search of their first home win. Syracuse looks to break the home field curse against the Mud Hens and faces an uphill battle doing so. Syracuse currently sits in the bottom of the International League North, while Toledo comes in at first place in the West. And up in the majors, the Yankees look to ride the hot bat of Aaron Judge to their 9th straight win. The rookie is literally ripping the cover off the ball. MLB StatCast says Judge has hit 2 of the 3 hardest hit balls in the league so far. It's translated to some big numbers too. Judge is batting .360 over the life of the streak with 4 home runs. And down in Flushing, the Mets take on the Phillies as Jose Reyes tries to break out of a massive slump. The Amazons legend has been hard-pressed to follow up the magic he produced in his return to New York last season. Reyes has only 4 hits in the first 46 at-bats of the year. And skating over to the NHL, the Rangers are out for revenge at 7 after the Canadiens stole a win in the Garden on Sunday. A Blue Shirts loss would be catastrophic, possibly sending the Habs back to Montreal with a 3-1 series lead. Out in the Midwest, things aren't looking good for the Blue Jackets. The Penguins lead the series 3-0 heading into tonight's matchup at 7:30. Vegas has Pittsburgh at plus 110 odds to close that series tonight. And completing the coast-to-coast trip, San Jose takes on the Edmonton Oilers tonight at 10. The defending Western Conference champion Sharks trail the Oilers 2-1 in that series.
So like you said, highs and lows for women's lacrosse. What's your predictions on how they finish out the season?
Well, my predictions for how they're finishing out the season, it's again, going to be on the up and up. You know, they've had some big contributions from their younger players. Emily Harwichuk, a big-time player on the offensive side right now. And then Asa Goldstock really battling through those early season struggles she had, you know, as a freshman, starting in goal for the Orange. She has been great, kind of culminating at ACC Player of the Week this week. So she's only going to be getting better and more confident as the season goes on.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. Coming up, we take one more look at your weather.
Citrus TV News will be back in 60 seconds.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at Citrus TV News, your campus news leader.
And tomorrow will definitely not be as nice as it was today. Temperatures 9 a.m., 50 degrees, going to go up to 55 at noon, but the rain is going to start around 11 a.m., start out as light showers, and then as we head into the early evening, late afternoon, 4, 5, 6 p.m., the rain will definitely pick up before it trickles down later in the evening.
And coming up next on OTN, Orange Press Pass, followed by a full hour of talking points starting at 7.
You can see the full OTN schedule and all Citrus TV content on our website, CitrusTV.com.
Former President George H.W. Bush, that's the first one, has been hospitalized in Houston with a recurrence of a case of pneumonia, that he had earlier in the year.
A Bush spokesman says the 92-year-old former president has been in Methodist Hospital in Houston since Friday for observation because of a persistent cough.
He said doctors determined Bush had a mild case of pneumonia, which he said in a statement he'd been treated and had been resolved.
The former president is in very good spirits and is being held for further observation while he regains his strength.
Bush was hospitalized for 2 weeks in January for treatment of pneumonia. We wish him the best. And before we go, here are 3 things that you need to know.
New York City Uber rides may become even more expensive. Starting this fall, the city might create a rule that forces Uber and other ride services to add a tipping option to their apps.
This would be a major reversal for Uber since it argued in the past that it will now allow in-app tipping.
This may be one of the perks customers like most about the company. However, drivers have sued the company over the lack of benefits, and petitions are becoming more common.
Snapchat is expanding its options for 3D filters.
The app announced on Tuesday that it will be adding 3D lenses to the rear-facing camera of smartphones.
Originally, users could only apply 3D filters using the front-facing camera, but the company is now bringing the party to the back.
And that's going to be all the time that we have today. I'm Jackie Prager.
And I'm Nick Papantonis. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and have a good night.